'Twas the day after Christmas, and all through the house, hungover jackasses, people returning your gifts, and now us on your audio platforms or on your YouTube. Sorry, guys. We hate to be the disappointing part of the day after Christmas, but we hope you all enjoyed it. I forgot my Santa hat. But I do have the lights. Alright, we're almost there. But anyway, today on the show, we're going to talk about the Pro Bowl rosters. Of course, we're also going to give our college football playoff predictions. Those games will be on New Year's Eve. And a good tinkle on this from last week. But we started off with, of course, the news that's been dominating the world lately. Not the news we want to talk about on here, but now it is impacting the sports world. COVID-19 has shut down the NHL for the time being. I believe it's only a few days, but still the point. NBA has come out and said they will not shut down the league for COVID-related illnesses. I believe 98% of the NBA is vaccinated anyway, so they probably will not shut down. NHL has also said that it has come to the agreement with the Players Association that players will not go to the Beijing Olympics in February. Instead of asking, was this a good decision to shut down the NHL, maybe it's a better question to ask, do we like this stance by the NHL to not let the players go to Beijing, or should we just say, screw it, they're vaccinated, just send them?
I don't know. It's tough to tell. I don't think you probably should send any players to Beijing, at all. I mean, I'm not saying that you shouldn't have an Olympics at all, but it's kind of like taking a big risk. It was like the same thing for the Summer Olympics as well.
See,
especially with the whole big outbreak that's been going on. But hey, as long as they can be safe, I'm not saying that you shouldn't. You can have some players participate, but as far as NHL players, it's kind of a big risk. I mean, they're still. I mean, they're what? They're done with a season right now, right? Or is there a season still going on?
It's just on a temporary hold right now. My belief is that they're going to make up the games during the Beijing Olympics, which might be more the reason why they're not letting their players go, but I don't know the full extenuating circumstances. But needless to say, I think I speak in general here. I got a lot of opinions on COVID. Jason has a lot of opinions on COVID and how this is all unraveling. We're not going to talk about that here. I'm going to plead the fifth for the sake of I don't want to get on the political side of it.
Nope.
What I will say, though, is that the U.S. may not even play in the Olympics.
Right.
Of course, if you've been paying attention to anything politics-wise, Joe Biden has considered pulling the U.S. from the Olympics as a stance against animal and human rights violations, mostly human rights. And, well, to keep it neutral, I will say Donald Trump was interviewed, and he had said he would still send the players to the Olympics. What I will say the difference is between now and 2020, when they were supposed to go to Tokyo, is that everyone's vaccinated now. If they feel safe enough to go, maybe they should let them. But honestly, if the Players Association took the stance and said, we don't want to go there, totally fine. that's ultimately where I'm going to leave it. It was in the hands of the NHL and the Players Association. If they both agreed upon it, saying we're not going to do this, we're not going to put our players in harm's way, by all means, do what you feel is safe at this point. At the end of the day, our opinions don't matter. All that matters is the safety of you, me, and everyone else.
I mean, you could still have the USA in there, just having no NHL players in itself.
Yeah, that's where they use college.
I mean, you can still find, I don't know.
You can find old NHL players in free agency. You can find a lot of players around, but I believe last Olympics.
Yeah, exactly.
I believe last Olympics they used players that were not on an active NHL roster, which is why Brian
honestly,
Giunta,
at this point, it's always tough to tell if it is the right stance. But the thing is that it's just, at the end of the day, I think the NHL is doing the right thing. You're taking a big risk. Yes, I know there's a lot of players that are vaccinated, but I look at it this way: if they can be safe about it and still do it, go for it. But again, if that's what they feel comfortable with, it's just how you gotta handle it. You just gotta go with whatever league feels comfortable with it, and if they don't feel comfortable with sending players to the Olympics, then you gotta abide by that.
Yeah. And like I said, I mean, you and I both got maybe the same opinion, maybe different opinions on how COVID's being handled and yada, yada, yada. We're not here to discuss that again. This is TSC. You want Tinkle political? We're not considering that. I promise you. Because I don't want to make one side angry and the other side happy at the end of the day. I want to deliver it from a neutral standpoint, and I think that's kind of the mission of our channel here. And we don't like talking about COVID, but this obviously is a big story, a developing story nonetheless. And at the end of the day, like I said, vaccinated, unvaccinated, it ultimately, if the Players Association, the NHL decided this was the best decision for everyone's safety, then by all means go with God with that decision. So
yeah, I know exactly.
Anyway, let's move on to our Tinkle rundown with that. Jason, I'll let you start since I started last week with the Tinkle rundown.
All right, a familiar face. I don't think this man has played in the NBA since being on the Brooklyn Nets, before they have the team that they do now. Well, Joe Johnson, who was last seen in anything basketball-wise in the Big Three League, is now going to get a chance with the Celtics, who are giving him a 10-day contract. Good for you, Joe Johnson.
He's earned that.
I don't think that's going to help the Celtics at all, who are kind of not that good this year.
Yeah. Can I just say...
Yeah, I think he's earned it.
Can I just say that for Joe Johnson and even Mike Bibby and Joe Johnson have more than earned their way back into the NBA, and it's as the two best players in the Big Three. And it's a shame that it took till now for Joe Johnson to get his chance again.
I know, it's always sad. Oh, I didn't write it down, but you know what's also interesting to note?
Yeah.
Lance Stevenson actually got called up by the, I think the Atlanta Hawks or something like that.
I think I read
He's getting called up from the minor leagues to play in... Yeah, he's going to be called up and actually play yet again in the NBA. So, I will say there's definitely some good things about the G League. It helps some players develop, and also helps them get back in the NBA as well. So
And
good for Joe Johnson and Lance Stevenson to finally get their chances again in the NBA. Because
and actually
you never know.
A little bit of an update on your story, by the way. Joe Johnson is playing in his first game back. Of course, 20 years ago, he was a member of the Boston Celtics, and tonight, when he came out of the locker room, TD Garden gave him, I believe that's still the name of the arena, right? TD Garden? It sounds about right. So, I'm going to roll with it. Anyway.
Yeah, the TD Garden.
Yeah. So, he came out to a standing ovation, and the crowd erupted when he made his first basket in over 1,300 days. So, it's very clear that he's receiving the love from the Boston area.
Well, that's always a good thing.
Yeah.
I'm glad that he's getting love coming back in the NBA, because he's still a very respected player.
Yeah. And
moving forward... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, just to note, we're recording on Wednesday due to the holiday. So that's how I know the breaking update on that. But anyway, I'll let you go forward.
Going forward, well, Jake Paul has some controversy in the Tyronn Woodley rematch. So, it was an 8-round fight, lasted until 6 rounds, and there's some controversy because people think that the whole moving of the right hand meant for Tyronn Woodley to drop his guard so that Jake Paul can hit him with a knockout punch, which did happen. Jake Paul did knock out Tyronn Woodley. Jake Paul is now at a perfect 5-0 in his boxing career.
If you want to call
every angle that I've been watching, I kind of happen to agree that I think it was staged. I think Tyronn Woodley allowed... I hate to say it, I think all these fights for Jake Paul have been staged because all they're caring about is, I get him paid regardless, so I don't care about losing.
Well, his promotions
Tyronn Woodley got $1 million regardless if he won or not anyway, so...
The problem is they need to find someone who actually
makes you
wants
beg to differ. Is Jake Paul actually legit, or is he just paying these guys just to make himself look good?
Yeah. I don't know at this point. I'm going to weigh in a little bit, so I'll take a hard pass at my thoughts here.
I will say his next fight is against a very big top UFC fighter. Jorge Masvidal is his next victim. He wants to offer him a very handsome ransom. He wants to offer him $5 million and half of the pay-per-view revenue. This man is about to get a hella big payday just to fight Jake Paul.
Yeah.
And it doesn't even matter if he wins or loses. He's just going to get a big-ass payday. Yeah. This man could earn well over $20 million, if anything, just to freaking lose to Jake Paul. I'm sorry. If I'm a fighter, I'd be okay, fine. I'll take that money just to lose to you.
Yeah. And let's face it, I saw in other rumors, Twitter is a fun place.
I look at this. How the hell does Jake Paul have fans?
I don't know.
How the hell does Jake Paul have fans after noting that he's just paying these guys just to freaking lose to him?
Yeah. Can I just say as well here, Jake Paul, now Twitter is a fun place. I know you're not on Twitter, but Twitter is a fun place with all sorts of rumors and whatnot. It was rumored that Jake Paul wants to get to 10-0. Then he's going to switch to the UFC. And that's fine. You want to switch to the UFC, you're going to go up against the notorious Conor McGregor at that point. Okay. That should be your first fight. And I will tell you something. You aren't beating him in the octagon. Plain and simple. I don't care if Conor McGregor's 40 years old at that point. You are not beating him. So, anyway, I'll let you continue.
It's kind of sad news in the NBA world, especially as a Dallas Mavericks fan. Doncic was unfortunately put on the COVID-19/reserve list. He's been out of the fold because of dealing with, I think, left calf tightness or strain or something like that. I can't remember. All I know is it was like a lower leg injury. But adds a little bit more to the fire. But they haven't had him because of injury. So you look at it as they came off a big win without Luka Doncic. They had a bunch of guys that didn't even honestly ever play in the NBA before that stepped up big and got them points. But you look at it as is it really a big deal, or will there be no one that steps up? I think there'll be guys that step up, but I think it is a big deal because Luka Doncic, kind of sucks. You have him out. Yeah, you still have KP, who has been on a freaking career year so far. He's been really coming in his own when he is there in the Vol game. Yeah, he's been sitting out of the games because you want to rest your players. Because that's just the NBA now. You don't see the guys just playing all 82 games anymore. You see a lot of them resting and giving other guys opportunity to come in the fold. So it does suck, but you look at it too as this man also had one no off season. He came right from the Olympics back into the fold of NBA. So you look at it as is that kind of to blame of why you haven't really been seeing much of Luka Doncic this year?
Yeah.
And every time that he's in, he just looks hurt. He looks like he just
I think
needs a break. He needs to get well rested and stuff like that.
Yeah.
We haven't really been seeing the same Luka Doncic the last few years like we have this year. It's very concerning to me that I think he should have took 20 games or so just to be able to get back into the fold. So I really do think that because he has had really no offseason has been a big reason why the Mavericks haven't been as good of a team. Yeah, they're still technically in the fold for, the play-in tournament and also playoffs itself. But it just, I don't know. I just look at it as kind of sucks that he's out, but how much of that is because the band has just put too much strain on his body?
See, I think it's fair to say, of all the major sports leagues, that the NBA has kind of been the most greedy in terms of, or the most aggressive in the return. I mean, 72 games. They made them play a finals in July. Then they sent half of the NBA over to Japan for the Olympics. Then they made them come back and get ready for off-season programs. The MLB ended it perfectly on time, still despite COVID. The NFL got a little greedy too, moving games to Tuesday or Wednesday and then forcing teams to play Sunday on a short week. But the NBA, even the year before that, even the first year we dealt with COVID, they rushed to get the season started again. And I just don't know if I like this personally. I think they should have shortened last year to 60 games so that way these players could get the rest that they need. And then, maybe you do the finals in early June and just get it over with. I don't know. To me, it's just corporate greed at the end of the day, and that's ultimately why we're seeing a lot of injuries, not just for Luka, but across the NBA. So, I don't know. That's just my thoughts on
I
it.
know it's sad to see, but as far as that goes, I think we're ready for that break.
Yeah. No, we're not ready for that break, Jason. You forgot I still gotta go.
Oh, that's right. Sure, that's right. Sorry.
All right.
Go
You see,
ahead
he
to
just
Brian's
wants
takeaways.
he doesn't want me to do my Tinkle rundown, so we're just gonna no, I'm kidding. We're gonna talk about it. All right. Anyway, let's start it off with the latest news out of the NCAA. Of course, NCAA football teams can win via a COVID-related forfeit. That was the announcement that came from the top. I'm not gonna lie, I don't like this one. Honestly, can you really crown a national champion through, say, like Alabama and Michigan get there? I'm not saying they will, but just out of, or even Cincinnati, Michigan. Okay, we're just going to go with that. Cincinnati, Michigan, they make it to the finals, and say Cincinnati has a COVID outbreak. Can you really crown John Harbaugh and Michigan or any of those four teams champion if they really didn't earn it? Because personally, I don't think you could crown anybody without earning it.
No, but if that's how they're going with things, then yeah, you probably can't. But
I would,
hey,
I would rather see the game get rescheduled at that point. And I think ABC, seeing how much money they invest in this and how much ratings that game draws in, I think ABC would be more than lenient to say, hey, we'll postpone the Goldbergs to let you show the national championship on a Wednesday. I think they'd be more than willing to do that. Now, as far as their secondary streams, if they're doing any on ESPN, ESPN2, any of that, maybe then you're running into some conflict, but obviously, no matter what's on during that time, it won't draw near the ratings that the college football championship would. So, again, I just don't like this from a standpoint, from any standpoint for that matter. And of course, in other news, of course, speaking about ABC, of course, I'm not sure if you heard, Fowler and Curb Street are going to be calling an NFL game the final week of the season. Their NCAA team there.
Yeah.
But
I think I saw something like that.
Yeah, they're going to be the ESPN number 2 team for their doubleheader at the end of the year. So, Jake Paul, Jason mentioned it already. He's 5-0. No real boxers he's fought yet. I'm just going to say I agree. So, Le'Veon Bell tweeted out, no more scrubs. Fight a real boxer, Jake Paul. And then Jake Paul responded with, I'm pretty sure Tyron Woodley would drop you faster than the Baltimore Ravens. How is that not Tinkle on this week? Oh, and we lost connection. So we'll be back in a moment. Alright, so for some reason I'm having connection issues. So I'm just going to finish up I'm just going to go on to my third point. We'll forget the Jake Paul thing. We talked enough about it. So, my third point, Tiger Woods. He has returned to the golf course with his son. They did pretty well in the Open. I didn't get to watch it, unfortunately, but glad to see after that horrific car accident earlier this year that Tiger Woods is back on a golf course and playing at a professional level. And his son will soon probably be playing at a professional level the way he's going.
Yeah, I think so. I'm pretty sure if I remember hearing correctly that his son had like 12 bogeys or something like that, which it's something. I mean, it's not impressive, but it's something
he's
for
young. He's young
to start
though.
off with.
y'all got to start somewhere. I'm not gonna criticize him. I'm an average 130, so I'm not even gonna judge him.
Hey, when your dad's Tiger Woods, I mean, why not get in the profession of golf
Yeah,
in some capacity?
that's true. But anyway, since we kind of took our anchor break early, I guess we're going to move on to the Pro Bowl news after that kind of abbreviated Tinkle rundown.
Mm-hmm.
The Pro Bowl rosters were announced. Justin Herbert is the quarterback one for the AFC, and Aaron Rodgers is for the NFC. The other quarterbacks, of course, for the AFC, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson. For the NFC, it is Tom Brady, and Kyler Murray. The Chiefs and the Chargers led the way with 6 Pro Bowlers. Jason, your thoughts here? Was anybody snubbed in the initial voting?
Uh, yeah, I think a couple safeties. I mean, I'm not gonna be too salty, but I think a couple safeties and the Bills got snubbed because they got 5 interceptions apiece. I think the 2 safeties for the Bills got snubbed. And maybe as starters. I know they're the reserves,
Yeah,
but
I would.
Micah Hyde and Jordan Poyer, I think, kind of got snubbed a little bit
Yeah.
as starting safeties for AFC, but it's alright.
See, I don't know. Like, here's the thing: it's hard to argue that Derwin James didn't deserve to be a starter because he's been having a good year. You know, honestly, the Chargers, like Slater is going to be a really good O lineman in the future. He's really good. And then, Herbert start over Mahomes. And again, I got to bring up Mahomes' tweet. Do you believe it now? Or I'm sorry, what he said at the Celebrity Open. Mahomes, do you believe it now? Do you believe that Herbert's actually pretty good and you should watch out for him? Okay. Is that finally what it took for you to realize it? But as far as the NFC side,
Yeah, right.
as far as the NFC side, I'm shocked that Tom Brady isn't starting. Or Kyler Murray. I'm shocked they got less votes than Aaron Rodgers.
I'm shocked about that too. And you know what I'm also kind of shocked about? How Lamar Jackson got over Josh Allen. I mean, Josh Allen, yeah, he might not have been impressive this year, but he's been looking kind of better than Lamar Jackson has been quarterback-wise. So I think Josh Allen kind of got snubbed as a quarterback.
I'm kind of shocked Bills Mafia
at least one of the quarterbacks
out.
on the AFC.
You would think Pro Bowl voting, Bills Mafia would show out there, but can I also add that to those who say, oh, no, I was gonna.
Oh no, you can go ahead.
Oh, sorry, I was gonna add to it that everyone says, oh, the Chargers don't have fans. They have maybe 10 fans at most. Well, if we have 10 fans, how is Justin Herbert, Keenan Allen, Derwin James, and others starting in the Pro Bowl? Because I'll wait. And I'll tell you, that Pro Bowl starting position for Keenan Allen proves that he's a top 5 wide receiver in the league. So,
true.
I don't want to hear the argument anymore that he isn't. I will agree that Josh Allen got snubbed. He should have been at least third, but it's hard to argue though against Mahomes and Lamar Jackson in the AFC. What I was a little
I mean I get it, but like when he's almost thrown over 4,000 yards and 30 touchdowns, I think it's enough to argue that he's kind of done enough to at least be part of the Pro Bowl itself. Just saying.
What bugs me is, are we not going to address the elephant in the room? you look at the three NFC quarterbacks. Do you notice that one that was in the MVP race early in the year is not on the Pro Bowl vote? I'll give you
Matthew Stafford's not there.
Yeah, that shocks me, honestly, because not that Rodgers...
That kind of does shock me, too.
You know, it's hard to argue over Rodgers, Brady, and even Kyler Murray this year, but Matt Stafford should have probably been second or third.
It's because it's a popularity contest when it comes to the Pro Bowl. It really is.
Exactly.
It always has been, and it always will be.
See, but let's face it, the Pro Bowl for the NFL is a joke compared to the All-Star games in any other league. It's a joke. There's nothing to play for. So, I guess we'll leave it at that, and let's get on to our picks for the college football playoff. And don't judge us, we don't watch enough playoffs or enough college football to make accurate predictions, but we'll do our best. Goodyear Cotton Bowl is the first one up on New Year's Eve. Cincinnati and Alabama. Alabama is 13.5 favorite.
See, I don't have to watch college football to know that Alabama's usually in the college football playoffs just about every year. And also are usually in the national championship every single year. So you clearly know who I'm going to go with in this game. In other news, Alabama's going to kick ass and take some names, and they're going to beat Cincinnati in this game.
Yeah. Cincinnati there's a reason they were undefeated, and they rightfully so belonged in that playoff. They probably should have been the number 1 seed, though. This is where I think college football's a joke. Is that if you're undefeated, I'm sorry, if you're in the top 4 and you're undefeated, you should be the number 1 seed.
Oh, yeah.
See,
again, college football is a favorites and popularity contest.
We can argue that, compare it to college basketball, it seems that they put more thought into the seeding for college basketball than they do for college football. I think that's a safe argument to make. That said, I'll get on to my pick, Alabama. Did you really think I was going to pick Cincinnati? But anyway, then we're on to the Capital One Orange Bowl, and it's a matchup between the University of Michigan and Georgia, and Georgia is a 7.5. This could be the best game.
Yeah. Now, if Georgia probably had Jake Fromm still, I would probably choose otherwise, but Michigan has been very good this year. John Harbaugh's got that team believing that they could win it all. I'm going to have to go with Michigan over Georgia in this game.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a Michigan and Alabama national championship game.
Yep. I'm going to agree. Michigan will win. I think Jim Harbaugh has built a good program over there.
Yeah, that's what I meant to say. Jim Harbaugh, not John Harbaugh.
It only took a few years. And again, Jim Harbaugh's name is still on the short list for NFL coaching jobs. But I imagine with what he's built,
to think about.
I imagine what he's built in Michigan, though, I think he'd rather stay there. So with that, though, let's get on to Tinkle on this. And of course, if you watched the Sunday night game, it was a snooze fest, to say the least. And on top of it, something else happened. Tom Brady got shut out for the first time since 2006, and you'll love this story. The Miami Dolphins were the last team to shut him out. And you know who was the coach of that Miami Dolphins team?
Yeah, Nick Saban. Nick Saban was the head coach of the Miami Dolphins in 2006 when they beat them 21-0. And it's also weird to note that this is the first time that Tom Brady has been shut out at home in his whole entire career. The two other times prior was in Buffalo when it was 31-0 in 2003, and of course 21-0 in 2006 by the man, the myth, the legend of college football himself, Nick Saban.
Exactly. So, of course, if you saw on the sidelines, Tom Brady doesn't take losing very well. That's something that's kind of a no-shit moment. And Tom Brady, to say the least, did not handle this one very well. He came back to the sideline, told his coach to go F himself, and then proceeded to slam the Microsoft tablet. And of course, the screen shattered, and needless to say, C.J. Gardner-Johnson, he took quite a few chances in that game to troll. I believe he did this as Tom Brady was walking by to go back to the sidelines, to which Tom Brady kind of just smiled it off, which, frankly, how can you not? I mean, that's just trolling at its finest. But C.J. Gardner-Johnson took it a step further, and he said, "Dear Santa, can I get a new Microsoft Surface tablet for Christmas?" Don't poke the bear, CJ, for one, because your team is not leading the division right now. But I'll still give you a 10 out of 10. And for that, Tom Brady, tinkle on this. No one's safe.
Yeah. Really.
Can you believe it? That was the last tinkle on this. Oh.
And is it safe to say that Tom Brady, I think you owe your team a brand new Microsoft tablet?
He can afford it. He's launching the new Brady.
Oh, I know you can.
That's the other news. I'm not sure if you heard. Tom Brady is now launching his own clothing line called Brady, much like Michael Jordan launched the Jordan brand. I don't think this...
I'll make sure to not wear anything his...
I'll bet you it's Under Armour.
Oh, yeah, probably.
Kind of like
it's probably going to say TB12 on it.
Yep. Instead of the Under Armour X there. But, interesting stuff. Of course, I should note, that was the final Tinkle on This of 2021. Because the next...
Is it really? Oh, yeah, that's right.
The next show we do will be on, well, if you don't count the Saturday edition, it'll be on January 2nd.
Actually, it'd be January 1st.
No, I said if you don't count... No, I said if you don't count the Saturday edition, because January 1st is on a Saturday this year.
No. No. You're wrong. Actually, no, you're right. Never mind.
I was about to say... Never
mind.
We're going to argue.
Yeah.
We're going to argue dates here, but... So course,
okay, that's... No, okay, sorry. I thought the 31st was on a Saturday this year.
Yeah, and of course, should I note, then, January 2nd... And a week after that, we celebrate our 1-year anniversary here. Not on Tinkle, of course, crazy. But our 1-year anniversary of this show. But I do want to say, to wrap it up, that I think I speak for both of us. And when we say thank you all for making this a fun 2021, I know, of course, I'm going to just say I wanted to do this show in person for Christmas. It just didn't work out that way. The COVID numbers in New York State are a little too high, so we don't want to risk it at this point.
Right.
So because of that, we couldn't do what we wanted to do. And of course, we hope to eventually do one, maybe. And then, of course, I just want to say thanks in general. Of course, we know it was a big change mid-year, We went from Sports Collaboration Network over to Tinkle Sports, and now, of course, we're here. We're happy, and it's working out. But we can also just say we're still working on stuff for 2021. We don't exactly know, or I'm sorry, 2022, my mistake. We hope to have some good stuff for you in 2022. But in the meantime, for those who are on vacation, I know a lot of people take the week of Christmas leading up to New Year's off. If you are on vacation, I hope you all have safe travels back. And if you're on that plane Sunday morning next week, I hope you will listen to us on audio or on YouTube, assuming you're not on airplane mode, sleeping with that 7-year-old yanking his mask off and kicking your seat. But anyway, thank you all for watching. Happy 2022. Happy New Year. Merry Christmas. And a happy Kwanzaa to all the people celebrating that, because today kicks off Kwanzaa. So, until then, guys. Goodbye, everyone.